So today I'm here with Michelle Ortiz, and she's been in the Hollywood scene for a long time. And I want to know a little bit about how you kind of made your way in the Hollywood scene, and a little bit, about building, because marketing is so much more than social media. And that's what we do. But at the same time, we're always curious, to have the conversation of all different types of marketing, branding yourself, working your way up within an industry. And so, let's hear a little bit from you.
Sure. So I started very young. I was about 19. I was in a beauty contest, and when I placed in the beauty contest, and the makeup artist had come to do our makeup at that time. This is back, when I was younger, and I was more impressed with them, what they were doing on me, than I was actually doing the contest.
Nice.
So they wanted me to continue on to the California pageants, and I was like, I'm out. This makeup thing is really cool. So I walked into a department store at the time. It's now a Macy's, and I asked to have a job. I asked for a job in Clinique. So part-time, I was 19, just out of high school, and unfortunately my parents were not happy. They were like, you're going on to college, you're going to USC, you're going to study law, and I said, no, I'm doing makeup. I'm good, I'm doing makeup, and I got a job behind the counter selling Clinique cosmetics and doing makeup. Well, what that did for me is Estee Lauder owned that company, okay, and they taught us, they sent us to school. They sent you to a makeup school. So I was learning from, master artist, a trade, basically, and I loved it. I was just in heaven. All my friends went off to college, and I was sitting at the counter doing makeup. So I thought about it, and I really wanted to do makeup on television. I love that whole industry, and I've always loved old time glamour, Hollywood 30s, 40s, and all that time period. And so I decided that I was going to move to Hollywood, and I was going to then start to hit the...
How old were you then?
I was 22.
Nice.
22.
I really, just to back up, I really like that you mentioned your parents said you need to go to law school, and you said no. So many people are caught up and get stuck on what their parents want them to do.
Exactly.
And so I think that was a really cool move, because your life could be a whole different thing, and it's crazy how parents, they want you to do what looks good for them.
Exactly what happens.
But then you end up not enjoying your life, and you don't get to take the route that you took.
Oh my gosh. I honestly, Ethan, I have so many experiences. My kids are like, oh yeah, my mom met that person. Oh, my mom was, at the bar with that person, or whatever. That I wouldn't have had that going to college and then sitting in an office and, being a lawyer. Could I do it? Yeah, I could do it.
Yeah.
But it was more a challenge getting in the industry that I was in at the time I was in it, and then staying in the industry. That was a hard deal. That was a hard job, right? But you're right. My parents, I love them.
Yeah.
My dad to this day says, well, you've had a very interesting life.
Yeah.
And I have. My sister went ahead and followed the plan, and she does very, very well, and she's an executive for a pharmaceutical company, couple houses. She does well, but I have the experiences, that, and I was creative. I was an artist back then as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't do well in traditional school, and they kept saying, well, she has a high IQ, but I just was not, I was bombing, you know what I mean? But as soon as I got around that counter and I started doing makeup, looking at colors and painting, if you will, I was just lost. I was lost in that world, right? And all these years later, I'm still dabbling in that world. So
you enjoyed it.
I still do.
And really in the scheme of things, you won by doing something you enjoy.
I did. And I went out and spoke on the industry, because it has a bad rap sometimes, but I went to schools for a while and spoke to girls specifically about, the makeup industry, because a lot of them feel it's kind of like it's technical, kind of like being a plumber or whatever. I mean, it's needed, but a lot of parents don't look at it as being, a good life for their children. I did speak out on the industry, explaining the benefits of it. So if you have that creative side, you're needed. I mean, honestly, a manager at the MAC counter can make 80 grand a year.
Wow.
Sell makeup.
Wow.
So
let's go back. You're 22, selling makeup at the counter.
Yep.
And then from there to where you think you made a big impact in Hollywood, how long do you think that was?
Well, that was a few years. So I went out there thinking I'm going to get all these jobs. I'm awesome. I'm a makeup artist. I'm from LA. I learned under the master, company out there. And I get there, and it was who you knew. It was who you knew. So I was like, this is going to be rough. So I transferred to a counter out in West LA, was working day, and then I started teaching makeup to models for John Casablancas. John Casablancas was the largest agent at the time. Cindy Crawford, Elizabeth Hurley, big name people were with them. So they didn't know how to do their makeup necessarily because they were models. So at night, I would leave the counter in West LA and go into, Century City, and I would teach potential models how to do their makeup so that I could start getting out there. People could see me, could see my face. That didn't do much for me. What really did a lot for me was going to the Rainbow Room, the Rainbow Bar and Grill, just being out in the nightlife and just being around people.
That's smart,
Yes.
and really in any industry you're in is finding where those people are hanging out, and then going, and then you're not just they're like selling to them. You're just like building the relationship.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So I would go out to these places, and there was, and I'm a huge metal head. So there was all the heavy metal headbangers were coming out at the time, and they're sitting there next to me, at a table eating, and they're, hey, what's going on? And we start talking, and then some of the new bands were coming out. They wanted to have makeup done because that's what they did back then, So I got in the position where I was doing makeup on new bands coming out. So then I was able to see those bands when they started performing, right? So I've made a lot of friends. In fact, one of the bands that we always would go see there, our neighbor, I talked to him on a regular, was Warrant. And Eric Turner lives out here by us, and his son actually went to school with my daughter at Marietta Valley, Thompson. And so you start to get to know people, and then, because they know you, then they invite you out, and then you're around them, right? So then I was on a different level, right? So not necessarily that I thought that I was going to go on a soap opera and do makeup. Now it's starting to turn into like videos.
So real quick, it hit me, and I talk about this a lot, because even on Instagram, people are like, they struggle on there, but they want to post a lot of things.
Yes.
But just listening to you, it put it into a real situation. So imagine if you went to all of those concerts, and you're just like, I do a makeup artist. Do you want to do makeup? Do you want me to do your makeup? No. I do makeup. Do you want me to do your makeup? No. And you went around and did that. That's what people are doing on Instagram.
Exactly what they're doing.
Literally what they're doing is they're like, hey, buy my service? No. Buy my service? No. Buy my service? And then they're like, this whole Instagram thing doesn't work. But if you take the whole going into the scene, building relationships, then they ask you what you do. So if you take that into Instagram, going into those communities, and then what you're doing is going in the communities, building and having conversations. Never have we been in a time where you could just go on your phone and go to the concert that you're in, and just at 11:30 at night and go build relationships with people, and then go off of that.
You're right. And you're right. And here's the thing too, is that you got to find what your passion is. We're talking about this, and we're going to hit on this a little bit more. I was passionately into rock music. If I could, I played a guitar or whatever, and I would have been in a rock band. So I passionately loved that industry, right?
What I really like about that is you're going in doing something you love. I've had business owners like, who do I go talk to? I'm like, do you like old cars? Go find old car pages in Temecula and go talk to them about old cars. Do you like music? Do you like, what I mean? Just because you're a, car detailing or window business or mover or whatever, doesn't mean you have to go. Nobody wants to talk about moving. But people love old cars, so you go in there and it just puts it into perspective.
Right. But they may need your service. So the rockers at the time needed our services, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't even know I was a makeup artist. They just knew that I was cool. I would come, I would hang out. My girlfriend, my roommate at the time worked for Fox Television. So we would be able to get access to different types of things because of Fox Television. So realistically, after a while, they were like, what do you do for work? I'm like, I'm a makeup artist. Oh, hey, so-and-so needs a video done. Can you come on set? How much do you charge? Well, I'm a master artist, so, this is what I charge. And they would pay it all day long because they knew me. They got to know me. They knew that I'd come to their shows, and I'd see I was there all the time. We'd have dinner. Sometimes I'd spot them at dinner. So that's how realistically I was a little bit more relevant. Was in that industry more so than I thought, the industry that I thought I was going to be in, which was basically like a television show. So I did a couple things for print ads and things like that, and I did a couple commercials, but I really did more of like rock bands coming up that wanted makeup.
I would much rather music over TV.
Oh, 100
and
times.
you're building your brand is literally going to concerts. You know what I mean?
And it's so funny that you say that's exactly what I'm even doing now. So I thought, my kids are getting older. I came out to the Temecula area, Merida area from LA. My husband's like, I don't want you driving in and doing that, that industry anymore. So now the kids are older, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind. People always have asked me to come do makeup, jobs for them, and I do things here and there. And just recently, my friend said, hey, she's a famous photographer. She said, you want to come, work with me, just carry my stuff, and I said, sure, let's, I haven't been around for a while. I go to the Viper room. There's a guy at the door, and he was in a band called LA Law back in the 90s, and I look at him, he looked at me and goes, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So it's still about who you know. So now he's the door guy. He's kind of like an owner there at the Viper room, and now he's calling me, get so-and-so's here, so-and-so's coming in, so-and-so's coming in. So I've been in there with, some of the guys from Sun Temple Pilots. Pink Floyd was in there. Some of the guys from Marilyn Manson came in, and we all sat at a table and talked. So it's still really about who you know, and I'm still, thankful. I'm thankful to the industry, because that's exactly how I'm relevant in the industry, because people know that I do know people that sing in the industry. Yes.
So what do we have coming up here soon?
So everybody wants to be part of the Oscars. So we have an ability for you to be part of the Oscars. So I'm selling sponsorships to an Oscar party.
Nice.
Sue Wong's Glam Gala. She's a costume designer. She's a clothing designer, very successful in the Hollywood industry. She lives at the Cedars. It's a historic mansion in Los Feliz, and it was owned by Errol Flynn, Howard Hughes, Marilyn Monroe. And it's kind of it's almost like a museum. Actually, she's renovated it to back in the 30s, right? And so she's she's offering the party, and then if you want to do some sponsorship at a red carpet event and at the party, then she's allowing you to come in and have dinner with her at the mansion.
Wow.
It did go through a renovation in the 60s and 70s with rock bands, so there was a lot of people there. And the best secret, and it really got me fangirling, was Jimi Hendrix wrote Purple Haze in the back room.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't from a drug, like induced coma.
Yeah.
So when I went back to the room, she has it still renovated out to when he was back there making music, and you looked out into LA, and the lights in LA with a little bit of smog but looked purple.
Yeah.
So that was a story to that. So she's got that claim to fame. Then Johnny Depp lived there while he was doing Ed Wood. Marilyn Manson went there because he likes old school rock and roll to kind of get some enlightenment by being in the house. The Rolling Stones, Van Morrison, Jim Morrison, they all lived there at one point in time. The band Love lived there for a while. So she has that 60s, 70s rock and roll gig going on also. So she's going to start filming videos with her designs, her clothing designs in that time period.
Yeah.
So it's her party. It's the night of the Oscars, of course. It's a viewing party, and it's dinner, dancing, and then it's red carpet event. It's a networking.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, can't just go to these parties. You have to know somebody to get on the list. So I'm opening it up to our community, to just network out there, because I think a lot of the people in Hollywood and LA know about the wineries, but they don't know that we're as a business community and as Marietta Temecula, because they always say, where do you live? And I tell them they look like a blank look on their face.
Yeah.
So I want to broaden our reach.
So a small business can purchase tickets or purchase a spot on the advertising spot.
Yes.
And then now they know somebody by doing that. Now they can come take pictures, do things.
Depending on level sponsorship, they'll have the red carpet. So there's going to be A-listers there. All the news media is going to be there. It's a regular party. It's going to rival everybody else's Elton John, Vanity Fair. Yeah. She's very well known in the industry. Google her, you'll see that. So she's allowing me to sell some sponsorship spots at her gala. So I'm going to open that up, to our community.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And like you said, you go to the rock concerts, build relationships, whatever industry you're in.
Right.
You go in there, and you never know who you meet. If you clean windows, and or you
exactly. Yeah, right. Like
wink, wink. You know what I mean? But like
right.
whatever you do, if you're in any industry, and they know you, and you get to have a 7-minute conversation. They follow you on Instagram. Whatever happens there, being able to go there is so much more in business building even with as much social media as we do, we reach, we'll reach 200,000 people, and we'll like build a brand, and there's really amazing things that can happen with social media. But there's something about the relationship right here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The relationship, going and meeting somebody, getting their number, and what happens on that. And I think there's a lot to that, to really building personal relationships. And really, I tell people in marketing isn't just one thing. It's not just Google ads, social media, shaking hands. It's a combination of doing everything well.
Well, you do it well. You do
thank you.
You do it very well, and you were the first person I thought of to sit down with, because you lead in the industry. I know that. I'm one of those probably that you you watch the metrics on me. I get in bed at night and I scroll through. You are a personal friend of mine, but I also, if it's boring, I'm gonna love you, but I'm not gonna sit there and scroll. But your content is interesting. I don't know what your content's gonna be about, so I literally look through all of your stuff. Yeah. So you're the first person I thought of before I sold it to the rest of our community, members. Is I think Ethan would do well with this, and this is part of the reason why you're going to be able to talk to an audience, that maybe wouldn't be able to know who I am, or be able to speak to me, or be able to get to me, right? So your reach is a lot bigger, but it is relationship building, and you'll learn that, if you're consistent, if you do what you say you're going to do, you can build your brand or your business into that, LA, Hollywood area that now is, what's that demographic, 10 million people. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of them are moving out here. So a lot of friends out here, and believe it or not, in the music industry, some big name people live out here with their kids. And so it's starting to kind of, we're being recognized. The wineries, what do they say? They say they've done like $4 billion since the inception, and that's a lot of dollars, So, we have the ability, out here. So I kind of thought this is a great way to get our community recognized. We used to have a film festival out here, but it kind of went away. The owners kind of got older and retired, and it kind of went away. But there's a lot of us that work somehow in the industry that live out here. We tried to organize, we weren't able to. So I thought maybe this would be a good way to get them back, or get the industry, get it recognized out here, so we don't have to keep driving in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I like, and I think I like to kind of, we'll get a little wrapped up, but really, like you said, it's who you know.
It is totally.
And then, and then people are like, well, you're just lucky, it's how who you know. But you put in the work. It's also who you know, but where you're standing.
That's right.
And who you put yourself in front of, and the decisions you make to make that happen.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Not even just overselling this, if you want to wink, you know what I mean? But really, there's the Marietta Chamber.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of amazing people in there.
Spend your time
There's other
there.
chambers.
Yes.
There's, there's festivals, there's things. And so as a business owner, being able to go to those things and really entrench yourself in is huge to do.
You're right, and also my cousin is breaking out now. He's a guitarist in a heavy metal band, and he calls me all the time. He's grown up now, and he says, "Hey, you want to come watch me?" So when I go out to watch bands, there's other people in the industry watching bands. Now, can I do anything for him by signing him up? No. But do I know people that can? Absolutely. So you got to spend your time, find out what your passion is and what you like to do. Like you said, when you're talking to some carpet cleaner, but go look at the guys that have the old cars, or, where's your interest? Where those lie? Because you're going to want to do it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you're not going to want to spend the time. Like you said, they come up and say, do you want to buy something on Instagram? No, and they're going down to that rejection list, right? To be honest with you, Ethan, I haven't had a lot of rejection in the industry. I really haven't.
But you also don't go around saying, do you want to buy? No. Do you want to buy? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's time and a spot, and that's cold calling sales, but building, you know what I mean?
But getting somebody like you, and I'm not just saying this is truthfully, I've thought about it. It's my relaunch back into the industry. Like, I personally will come to you and will have, a package through you to get me the tools that I would need in this market, in this industry, to get myself out there, right? Because that's the way to do it. It's the proper way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And people are afraid, like we've talked about. They don't want to spend $1,000 when they can make, $25,000.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
The biggest thing is that really building a brand.
Yeah, that's what you do.
It's not about sales. And the same thing with running video ads. If you have a video ad, and let's say, you start it with, hey, dude, I'm going to sell you this, and, this is amazing, and it's going to change your life, and this. The next time they see a video from you, they're going to be like, nah, I don't want to watch this guy. He's just another sales pitch. I mean, I have video ads. They don't leave me alone. and I don't really watch them. I might watch like 8 seconds and I'm like done. I'm like, how do these guys keep putting ads in front of me? But then there's other people who just pour value, and I'll watch 12 minutes. He's not selling me anything. But if he ever sells anything, I'm buying it because I've watched 77 of his videos because he did, you know what I mean, wasn't selling.
100%. Who do we both like? Gary Vee, okay? He's like, gotta watch this guy, Michelle. His language is bad, but you gotta watch it.
I told you to watch him.
Just because we're friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch. Oh my God, this guy's language is bad. What does he sell us? Nothing. He sells us nothing. I watch him every single solitary time. If he came and said, I'm selling something for $69.99 every month, I'd be buying it. Because you build.
He's actually next Tuesday going to be in LA.
We should go see him.
I'm actually at tickets.
I would love to go with you. He's awesome, okay? And that's how I learned about the branding. And you're right, it's about branding. It's about me. You know, everyone said, Michelle, your experiences are you. So I went to Mexico last month for a Heart of Hollywood event. They asked me to go as a celebrity artist to speak to as a VIP. It was kind of cool. And I, you know, they had put me on some television program, and then they did some red carpet interviews. And I was, you know, they asked me my time in Hollywood, and they asked me what the secret was, basically, because Mexico's starting to blow up. With Hollywood filming, and they want movies filmed down there. And I said, honestly, it's about who you know and relationships you build with those people. You know, you can't burn your bridges. You got to do what you say you're going to do. You know, and it comes, but it's about the relationships, you know, that you build, and you know, and your passion. That's really what it boils down to.
Cool. Well, hey, it was a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll put links if you're a business owner and you're interested in coming down. We'll put stuff on links, that. And no, it was really a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Ethan. Absolutely. Thanks a lot. All right.